Another beautiful morning. Chilling out with my baby girl. Whatever she's doing. Sweetie pie. Got my coffee, which is good. First coffee of the day. I was gonna maybe give Marley a haircut at some point. He desperately needs it. So I thought going with the practicing my off-grid stuffs. I was gonna give a go of doing his hair with the scissors instead of the clippers like I usually do. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully it goes okay. Should be good. Molly. He's a cutie. I'm going to be finishing my coffee first because, it's too early to be productive. So, yeah. Sweet. Baby girl on guard. Been sitting like that for like 10 minutes now. So cute. She's probably hungry. I don't know why I fed her yesterday. Not yesterday. What was it? Tuesday? Like 2 days ago. Which is good. She's not due for another feed for like at least a week and a bit. Trying not to overfeed her. The vet's like, you don't have to feed her that much, and I was like, yeah, but she's always hungry, so I gotta resist feeding her, which is hard. But I don't know, snakes are different to us, I think. So she's booked in for a vet appointment to get a health check because winter's coming, so we can make sure she's healthy. And I'm all set for winter because she stops eating through the entire winter, which is why I'm struggling to not overfeed her because, vet's orders. But I don't know. She seems healthy enough. She's not fat. Cutie pie. Still drinking my coffee. Very big cup. We get to work. Do something anyway. I might give the dogs a run around before I give them a brush. Just so, why not? I think he'd like it. Should be good. Jesse's sussing out my drink. Ooh, coffee for me. She always tries to sniff my coffee. You see the little fluff ball in the background. Molly! Yeah. Where are you? Hi, Blue. Hi, Molly. You gonna get a brush today? Maybe a haircut? Yeah. Yeah, I think you'll like that. You're such a good boy. Here's my cutie. Which is good. I'll give him a brush. That'll be good. Okay. I'll let them run around for a while and then get into it. Baby girl. I don't know where she's looking now. What are you doing, miss? She probably smelled the quails. Hi. Good boy. Hi. Good boy. Whole yard to play with. You just choose to sit down. You're like, hi. Dog logic. What are we thinking? Just run around some more? Or are we gonna get you brushed? Cut these knots and crap out of you. Such a good boy. Okay. So, I've got the wrong dog in my lap, but that is fine. So this is my grooming kit. I usually only use 2 or 3 of these things. This comb's not really that crash hot. I have a different comb for that. Go away. I'll just go get it. My brush. This is what I usually use to do Marley. This one's more when I don't know what you call it, like scissoring and stuff, make it look pretty because it doesn't grab the hair as much. It kind of just fluffs it up, which is good. And then these are my thinners. They got like little, where's the camera? They got little things. It only cuts like every 2nd or 3rd hair, which is good. And then my favorite, which is just standard straight scissors, which are quite nice. They're a little bit loose, they just sort of flop, but I kind of like that. But yeah, we'll get into it. We'll start with Marley brush. So we're ready to go. Marley. So I always like to start with his face. I don't know if you can hear it or not because the camera's like so far away. So if it doesn't work, I'll add audio later and walk you through what I've done. So it'll work either way. It's actually not as naughty as I thought he would be, so just good. Sorry. This video is going to take a lot of editing. So what I'm doing here is just his ear. It's pretty clear because I always, even if I don't brush him, I'll check his ears because it's got floppy ears. He doesn't get the airflow, so I need to make sure it's clear. So I just super gentle, just grab just all the little stray hairs that are in there. I'll grab the closer shot. So I've flopped all the ear back so I can see straight into his ear canal. And I just, super gentle, just pulling at the hairs. If they don't come out, don't force it because they're not supposed to come out like that. And if you try to rip them out, you'll end up making, sores. But it just helps promote promote the hair to fall out, because otherwise as the hair dies off it sort of traps itself in there because it's obviously inside of his ear. So it yeah, just helping keep that airflow going so that's nice and clean. And then the other side needs to be done, so I'll do that now. Actually, it's very good when they sit still for you, because it's a bit of a pain if someone's hurt the dog before. They will not trust you near their ear, but because I've never actually hurt Marley doing this, he doesn't mind it at all. There we go, see? Beautiful. Nice and clear, easy peasy. I will always do that if you know, even if I'm not brushing him, just keep them clear. So you can kind of see what I'm doing here with the knots. So his ear's not really knotty, but I'll go down until I can feel the knot. See, just the knot just there. The knot, just go just past it, and then work my way back up and around, and just get it like you're eating hot soup. Just keep going at the outside of it, and you'll keep tinking until eventually you get to the center bit, and then you can start again. Start down at the bottom and then work your way up. And then you can start separating it out and break the knot into two. And then before you know it, you're through. See? Beautiful. And I basically do that all over. So he's surprisingly not free, considering I haven't brushed him in like a week. So I'm a horrible person. But when they get brushed regularly, even if you do miss a while, it's easy to get out because the hair's already trained. So his hair's already straightened from me, you know, pulling it straight constantly. So when it does knot up, the hair naturally wants to go straight again because it's used to being straight. So it makes it easier. Curly coated dogs, on the other hand, no matter how much you brush them, they're gonna stay curly. So there's no really training curly coats like poodles and bichons and what do they call, the Bedlingtons, which are my favourite. They're so cute. But Marley being a Maltese, you're kind of stuck with the standard flat coat. So he's got a bit of a wave, but nothing much, which is why I like to leave him long, because he just doesn't look good short, and he deals okay. You know, when it's hot, I'll cut it a little bit shorter, and I'll do more underneath his stomach and stuff, so he can lay in the pond, which is just over there, and lay on the cold cement, and I bring them inside, so he doesn't coat, you know, too bad in summer. And in winter I let it fluff out a little bit more, so I don't cut around his belly too much, just, you know, where he pees, so he doesn't get pee in his coat. And if he's having a bit of diarrhea, which he does tend to get because he's got half of his bowels removed, so he's got a very sensitive stomach. But if that happens, I'll clip around his butt a little bit so poo doesn't get caught. But because they eat raw, it's pretty good. I just, you know, increase the bone content slightly, and it's never a problem for more than a day or so. So it's pretty easy to manage. Again, always get knots in the ears, just underneath from the wax. Cool, so I'm going to lay him down. I always like to, he likes to lay down, I like to lay down. It's just easier, more relaxing for him. Especially if he's wet, it takes a really long time to brush him out, so it's just better. Yeah, half the time he tends to fall asleep. Especially if I'm doing like a 2 hours, like if we go for a big bush walk and he gets muddy, or something like that, he will take a very long time to brush. So I just found this way works better. You know, some dogs prefer to stand when you're brushing them, some prefer to lay down. So here's a layer. All you groomers out there will know all about that. You got the layers or the standers. Marley's a layer, so you know, I just work with it. In a proper grooming salon, it would be really annoying, because especially when you're trying to shape them and brush them and you know, do the standard groom, where you know, I've just learned to work with him, and you know, if he wants to lay down, he can lay down, because I don't mind. It's okay, it doesn't affect anything. He's happier, I'm happier. Plus it makes getting under his armpits much easier, which is just godsend, because so I don't actually clip under there. He gets very hairy and very knotty, so it's easier when he lays down for this, because trying to pull his leg up as high as I need to get into his armpit would just be hard if he was standing. So it kind of works better for me having him lay down. So it's good. You know, what's the saying? When life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. You know, so just work with what you have. Which is good. We got little. So done one side, so it just rolls over, and then we do the other side. Makes it a little bit harder because you know, you're obviously knotting up the other side, so I'll have to give him a quick run over when I scissor him. But that's what this is for. It just neatens the coat out. It doesn't actually brush it, but it makes it workable. So it's quite good. So you can see in his armpit, it's actually really good. He hasn't been getting as knotty. They've been inside a lot, so I think that's why, because usually he's up at the crack of dawn, wandering around in the dew, getting all wet and getting grass and stuff caught in his fur. So because he's been inside a lot, he hasn't been getting that. So it's not as knotty. Hopefully they'll be able to go back to normal and have a normal dog life. Just gotta fix the fence, which I might actually do today. Back legs always get knotty. He's getting old, so he chews on his legs, because he's getting arthritis, I think. So he's always got that little bit of red staining around his knees, which is you know, it's okay. What are you gonna do? He's not a show dog. He's doesn't matter if he's crisp white or not. So I know when he's having hard days and not. So if you know, his legs are redder than usual, it's from him licking. So it's his saliva is mildly acidic, so it kind of like bleaches the hair a little bit, which is what causes it to go red, I think. I'm not really sure. I've heard a bit about it, but I haven't really looked into it. But it's the same thing as the tear stains. It's the same liquid that causes that redding. So if it's a little bit redder than usual, I will add a bit more salmon to their diet. It's just got a lot of omegas in it, and it'll sort of fix that. Eggs too help. So he will you know, sort of stop licking for a little bit, and I get a bit slack and I sort of stop. But having the quails is good, because they you can see them behind me. They lay pretty regularly, so the dogs always have a constant supply of nice eggs. So nice and fresh, homegrown. So got some nice eggs, which is good. It helps with the coat too, keeps them shiny. So you can't really tell with his fuzzy fur, but they it helps. So I'll spin him around a bit so we can see what we're doing. So I like him to have the really cute little, it's like Asian fusion sort of style. So I like the chin to be quite short, and then the sides of the mouth to be, you know, cute and round. You can sort of see how I've got that shape. And then I keep his hair long because I like it to comb back. So we'll get into that. This is the first time doing the clipper work without clippers, so bear with me. I'm not really sure how I'm going to run this, but we'll see how we go. We'll start with what I usually do, which is just comb his fringe back because I don't actually want to cut that. And then comb all this back, and then I trim whatever sits in front of his eye. I don't know if you can see that. Might have to move the camera somewhere else. There we go. See, and I trim just what's in front of his eye. And then I do the same thing on the other side. I always like to work side by side instead of doing one whole side. I like to do the sides progressively together because it ends up being more symmetrical. And I'm a little bit OCD with that, and I hate it being uneven. So I just got the thinning shears. They just help blend the scissor marks out. So just get a closer look. So it's got a beautiful little face now, and I'm going to pull it forward and then brush around it. This is when I start the style. So usually I've clipped this already as a clipper, so a lot of this isn't already here. So you can sort of see, I just want to follow, so I'll go right up towards the nose and then follow his jawline along. And then I blend it back into his ear. I'll pull out all the gunk because when you chews on bones and stuff, this gets in the, this gets really yucky. So I trim it right down. I stretch this out and then trim when the washing's done. I trim in there. And then I get the scissors, comb, and I just pulled all the hair out from inside his like mouth because he likes to lick all his hair into his mouth. Well, I don't think he likes to. I think he just does it because, you know, the hair's in the way. So I'll trim really close along there so the hair doesn't get in his mouth anymore. Being super careful. Some dogs like to lick as you're doing this, which is very dangerous, and you can cut their tongue, which is shitty because it doesn't stop bleeding. I know that from experience. Not with Marley, but with a different dog. So I'm always very cautious, especially if I don't know the dog. Extra careful because they may decide to lick. They lick their nose when they're nervous, so some dogs are quite uncomfortable when you pull the hair out of their mouth, so they might lick. So it's always something to take note of, just in case you have one that decides to lick. See, beautiful. Everywhere. Okay, so I'll pull the hair up a little bit. Just trim it along there. And then I'll do the same thing. I'll stretch out that little, it's like a little, I don't know where his teeth sit. It stains there, so it's really yucky, but I just trim that out. It's more of a vanity thing with that. it's not really that important. You mean, especially with schnauzers and things, like you would never cut there. So I just don't like the look of it. So it's more of a vanity thing for me. It doesn't need to be trimmed away, but same thing. I do like his jaw to be quite short, so it helps with that, keeping it short. And then I pull all the hair forward, so it's popping out past his nose, which you can't see there. So, and then I'll trim that. There we go. And then I'll use my fancy comb, and it just helps fluff the hair up. So if you don't have one of these, you can let the dog off the table or wherever and let them have a run around, and they will shake and they will do this themselves. But a lot of the times, especially if you're time poor, like in a grooming salon, or impatient like me, it's annoying having to wait for the dog to run around and shake off. So yeah, and you can just, they're not too expensive. The better ones obviously are, but same thing, they're definitely worth the investment. So I'm just blending that into the longer bits because I like his mane. It's very cute. Okay, so this bit down here, because I usually clip it quite short, I think what I'm going to do is maybe just brush it up and then scissor along that. It's how we usually do long coats, but not so much of the shorter coats. With my thinners, so it looks good-ish. Not as nice as I would like it, but you know, new things. So you know, if I go off grid, I definitely want to invest in some solar, so I'm not having to do this because I like his neat haircut, and it's just not coming up that nice without the clippers. So, I'm just going to get the chop marks out. Cool, so now I'm just going to do his feet. You can't really see from there. I like to trim, so I trim in between the paw pads. I'll show you a before and after because it's hard to trim with one hand and film with the other, so I'll show you after. But in the meantime, so I've lost my comb. Where'd the comb go, Molly? There it is. Found it. So I don't really do any shape work unless it's standing, because you'll end up with chunks and it won't look right. So what I do is I'm just trimming the bottom and anything that overhangs the pads by like a lot, because they, you know, it's gonna get cut off anyway. So I like his pads to be quite beveled, so I'm okay with cutting around a fair bit of the edges. So I'm just pulling his hair down towards his feet and then just trimming around the pads. I like to, it helps to prevent knots, but I'll pull his feet apart a little bit. Same thing though, I usually get this with the clippers, but you can do this with scissors too. You just pull the toes apart a little bit and then trim in between the paw pads. It's just, you can't see here obviously, so it's not a big issue, but I like it because it prevents knots in the future. So when he walks in mud and stuff, that'll get in between his toes. So it it's nicer to you know, have those already trimmed. And then I'll pull the hair from in between the toes outwards, just to clear up. Same sort of thing, it'll get knotty in between those, so I like to trim in between his actual toes as well. Same thing, that's kind of optional, so most dogs aren't as messy as my dog, so if it's just an inside dog that doesn't really do much or go places, or, you know, doesn't get muddy and stuff like that, I don't think it's really necessary. But, you know, my dogs, we like to go places, we like to do things, so they get very, very dirty. So I like to make it just easier. So yeah, so the less hair there is to knot, the better. The same thing, I just sort of brushed it up a bit, and I'm just trimming around the outsides. And same thing, pull the toes apart. So it's been quite easy with Marley. He's very comfortable with me because I've never actually hurt him, so he's very used to this. We do this quite regularly, so he's quite used to the routine. He knows what we're doing, when we're up to. He knows when I give him a good pat on the butt, it's all done. So we'll just kind of chill out until then, and which is really good. It's nice to have, especially like a dog that you do regularly. It's good to have the trust, so they're a lot more relaxed, which is better for you and them. Which is why I find, especially like with Blue, for example, he was quite nervous when the first time I did his nails, so he was always a bit fidgety. So it's worth getting their trust. So this is the after. So I've scissored all along in here and in between his toes. So it's better. It's still messy. I'm going to be fixing that up once I've got him standing, but for now I'm just doing all the underside stuff. I'm not doing the full style until the bare minimum, the basics are done. So when I groom, I like to do basics, so, you know, brush, remove those knots, make sure they're clean, do their hygiene areas, do their feet, around their eyes, you know, just the important stuff. And then once you're done, you can get into, you know, what they look like. So I find that's really good fundamentals, because all dogs need those basics. So if you can smash out the basics, especially if you're working in like a big company or something like that, where you got lots of people, lots of dogs, basics are good. So anyone, you know, groomers just starting out, they can do the basics on pretty much every type of dog. So having them groom and then do the basics, then someone a bit more, you know, experienced can do the style side of it. So I think that's just a way that I've been taught. So yeah, that's how I've always been taught to do it. And there's probably other ways to do it, but yeah, that's the way I've learnt. That's the way I like it. It works quite well, so it's good. Can't really see him. Okay, so adjusting the camera. Need to get a camera stand. It's currently balancing on my grooming bag. just tinkering on the handle, so it likes to shift. But one day I will invest in a proper camera mount or phone mount or whatever. See, one of the downsides to having a layer is quite often you'll have to rebrush bits because them laying on it has scuffed it back up, which is, you know, not an issue. It's you probably have to re-neaten it with a stander anyway, so either way you're probably going to be brushing over them multiple times, which again, you know, if they're comfortable they don't mind, so it's pretty alright. So we've got all that done. So again, usually I clip all of the spots, so that's just his belly and stops the pee. So I clip quite high up because that was coming out of summer. Now we're coming into winter, so I'll clip a fair bit lower, like only to about here rather than up to his rib cage. And then and I like to clip quite high up along the knees. Same thing, because it was summer, so you know, I wanted him to have extra actual skin touching the cement, so cool off. Where now I still clip quite high because he leaks there and he makes knots, so because you know, you get sore knees, so I usually clip quite high, but I'm going to give a shot at doing this with scissors instead of the clippers. We'll see. I wasn't really impressed with under his neck, so I haven't got really high hopes on that turning out really nice either. So I like to have him lay completely flat, so I usually just cradle him in my legs, so he's in between my legs just chilling. It sort of stops him from rocking from side to side a lot. So I'm just going to flick up the hair and then scissor along. On his neck I was keeping the comb in place and then scissoring along the comb, which I highly recommend, especially if you're new to grooming and it's a new dog, for example. So Marley, I know he's not going to move. He's very content on just sort of laying there. So you know, I cut corners a little bit, and I don't really hold the comb there. I just sort of fluff the hair up and then trim along. So so that's his belly all trimmed up. It's again pretty scruffy. I'm used to it being quite neat, so yeah, I'm gonna start on his actual style now. So I'll stand him up on the cement, so yeah, I'll work it out. Just taking a break while I set up a nice spot for him to do the rest of him and make him look prettier. Hey Molly, I'm getting there. Cool. Okay, so I finally got it set up. We're just on top of the ink whale enclosure because we had a bit of a clean up and I threw out Marley's old grooming table, so it's working pretty good. I got him on the front door mat, so that's nice for him to stand on. I threw out his last mat, so yeah, it'll do. We'll get into some more styles now, so let's see how it go. It's just a bit shuffly, so his face is really annoying me. So I'm just gonna, now that I've got him, and it lifts that up a tad. I'm just gonna fix it up a little bit. So I'm not a fan of that metal comb on his face. Because it's metal, it's a bit tougher, so when it bumps his forehead and stuff, he doesn't like it. So I'm just gonna tidy this up a little bit. Back. Flyaways. I guess it would be a bit shorter. Just quite good. Got the thinning scissors. I'm just gonna really trim that up. I want this as short as possible, so what I'm doing with this is I'm just pretend my hand's like his skin. I'm going like bump, flicking the hair up with the bottom comb, and then scissoring. So I'm not actually going near his skin. It's so far working pretty well. The other side I'm not sure how I'm gonna work that as well, but it, that looks a lot better. I'm just gonna trim it up. Trim the top of his nose. Cool. So once I've got that, he tends to scruff his hair up. So I've got some hairspray. It's nice little doggy stuff, but I cover his eyes anyway because you know you don't want that going in his eyes, even if it is dog friendly. This stuff's dog friendly stuff is it's basically just safe, you know, if it gets eaten or if it goes in their eyes or something. But you know, like I don't want to take the risk anyway. You know, it's an irritant either way. So just you know, I like to be careful and not get it. You know, I mean, like why take the risk if you don't need to? So that's just pulls his hair out of his face. While I'm grooming him, it'll dry and fluff out. But for now, this is good. Cool. So I just stand him up. He's not much of a stander, so this is where a lot of groomers can get frustrated. But I usually just keep a hand on him, you know, put my hand under his belly. So I'm always just sort of holding him up. And he doesn't, you know, he only sits, you know, once you let go and stuff. So he's not an obsessive sitter, which is it's usually nerves. If the dog's nervous, they will sit. It's a submissive stance. So you can't really see it that well, but I'm kind of just beveling around the foot. So I'm going from where the paw pad is and just, you know, up. So it so his hair is as long as possible, but it's not actually touching the ground. And I blend it into the rest of his leg because his hair's quite long, so the hair from his arms is actually part of what touches the ground. So I will scissor down. I usually guide it, so I like it to be a straight line from here to here. So I will keep in that line. Okay, and then I lift a foot so I can get to the inside. I want him to stay as natural as possible, so I try not to move him too much. I want the hair to sit comfortably. He's had a good walk around and a shake off, so his hair is pretty much sitting the way it would naturally, which is what I prefer. because obviously once you've finished grooming him, if you've brushed him out completely and then you groom him, it's not how his hair's going to sit, so you're going to end up with chunks out and everywhere, and it just looks like shit. So I always try to, you know, give it a bit of a brush to fluff it out and see little bits that you missed, but not out of the direction that his hair would move. You mean, so I wouldn't fluff, because his like a drop coat, I would brush downwards because that's the way his coat would sit. So you don't want to go brushing upwards or sideways or anything like that, because otherwise you're gonna mess with the end look. So I'm just going around with the thinning shears. I just this way, good boy. Just to tidy up the edges. Now that I've got the shape, you can't really see there. I've gotten the shape now, so I'm just gonna tidy it. I don't want to alter the shape. If I'm going to alter anything huge, I would put him back to his stance and then scissor, because otherwise that's how you end up with chunks, because obviously it's differently in this position than it would if it was standing. So any massive shape changes, it should always be done in their standing position. And same thing on the other side. Just tidying up the strays. I quite like these scissors. They give it a much more natural look. So you don't have those hard cut lines. You know, sometimes it's what you want. You know, some cuts, some styles, you know, you need those hard cut lines like schnauzers and you know, things like that. But in general, especially for Marley, I want his look to be quite natural. So he gets a lot of thinning put through his coat, so it looks like it's naturally fading into long to short, and there's no actual hard lines. So with this comb, I'm just brushing it all down, so I can get a general feel. I pat it down a bit because otherwise it gets really staticky and it fuzzes up too much. So I like to go there. So I usually have his I like his big butt, so I like to keep his leg ends here, but I'm keeping the fur up to here, so it looks like he's got bigger back legs, which is it helps make him look a bit longer, because I'll leave this long and then cut these feet quite short, so it kind of looks like he's got a nicer posture, but in reality he sits his feet quite far forward, so his butt's here and his foot is in line with that, and it just, I don't know, I don't like that look. So I try to elongate his legs a little bit by leaving the front longer and the back of his hocks longer, so it makes his leg look like it's a bit longer. But I still cut this bit quite high, just gives them a bit of extra shape. Be super careful of their bits, because some dogs have really low hanging penises and it'll you can accidentally nick that. So look before you cut. Just probably yeah. So I blend that all the way into his front legs. And on the other side too. So I like to bring the the thinners through here. Just kind of bevel it a little bit. Because same thing, I don't want that hard line, so I'll just kind of chop it a bit and just blend it in so it looks a little bit more natural. Because otherwise his hair kind of poofs where you've cut it and it just looks stupid. I like to do the same thing, do one side, do the other side. So, otherwise it'll end up being uneven and that's annoying. This is really hard to fix once you've done and it's still uneven. So, a bit hard. So like I said, I like to keep that back quite long so I don't really cut much off of that. And I just trim around his back feet quite tight because I want them to look like they're further back. Same thing, I'll lift up his leg and his tail because his tail likes to get in the way, and then just trim the inside of his foot. You'll see what I do just here, so just trimming along the inside so he has cute little round feet. And same thing on the other side. I like to trim it quite short. Because yeah, I want his back end to look tilted back. Then I'll come through with the thinners. I'll just brush it out, find any strays, and then go through with the thinners. And there we go. It's pretty much all done. I'll just so I don't really like trimming much around his butt, but just enough so so he doesn't get poop caught. Again, that varies a lot on diet, so just introduced them to deer, and the diet change has been a bit how you going for him. So because again he's got that really sensitive stomach, so just trim around the butt a little bit, and then it's all done. Yeah, all done. Good boy. I just get this comb through so it sits a bit more naturally. It's Marley all done. Marley, aren't you cute? Yeah. Super cute. Here's my little Asian mix. Aren't you cute, Marley? It's all done. Yeah. Little sweetie pie. So I didn't mind that so much. He once I went through the scissors, the thinning scissors on the chin and the neck, it came up pretty okay. So I don't mind that. I think practice makes perfect. It'll come better. Yeah, cute. Happy now? Just had his little shake off. He's like, "Where's my treat? Where's my treat?" Hey. So I thought I'd just cap it off there. This is pretty much all I used. My blending scissors, which are optional. I just like them because they neaten it up. I've got my standard scissors. They're just straight scissors. They're nothing fancy, And then I've got my little comb, which is quite a wide tooth comb. It's very much just for fluffing hair. Doesn't brush it well. And then I've got my actual brushing hair. It's because it's plastic. If you hit a knot, it just flicks out. It doesn't actually hurt him, which is why I think he's so comfortable being brushed, because it works, but it doesn't hurt. So yeah, my grooming kit right there. I'm gonna pack up, and yeah, thanks for video number 2, which I hope turns out alright. I'll edit it up. I've been practicing a couple of things, so hopefully it shows. Yeah, next time, my next video, I plan on doing a bit more gardening. I checked on my ginger the other day and it's been eaten, so I was going to plant some more and look at covering it with something. I think it's mice that have eaten it, so something that's mouse proof. I have a net, which is it worked with the snails, but I'm not sure about the mice, so I'm gonna I don't know, I'll work it out. Plant some more of that. Maybe even if I plant it in my greenhouse, and then once it starts to grow, plant it out. Maybe they won't eat it once it's already growing, but what are you doing? We'll see how we go anyway. But video number 2, my practicing off-grid grooming for Marley. Next time I'll do a video of how I usually clip him, which is with the clippers. I quite like that. It's a lot quicker and neater, definitely much neater. But overall, I'm pretty happy with it. It turned out surprisingly good for a first time, which is nice. Yeah, okay, I'll leave it there.